Well, students, we have finished our discussion on quadrature formulas. In this lecture, we will quickly recap the performance of the three quadrature formulas that we discussed, namely the trapezoidal rule, the Simpson's rule, and the Gaussian quadrature rules. Then we will introduce a concept called degree of precision and show through an example how to find the degree of precision of a given quadrature rule. Finally, we will learn how to derive an expression for arithmetic error involved in a quadrature formula. Recall in this section on numerical integration, we basically concentrated on four quadrature rules: rectangle rule, trapezoidal rule, Simpson's rule, and Gaussian rule with n equal to 0 and 1. N equal to 0 actually gives rise to the midpoint rule also. Out of all these methods, we particularly applied trapezoidal rule, Simpson's rule, and Gaussian rule with n equal to 1 for this example. Let us summarize what we have obtained through these three rules as far as this particular example is concerned. Trapezoidal rule gave us the value 0.75, whereas the exact value of that integral is 0.693147. Geometrically, if you see, the red line is the graph of the function f of x is equal to 1 by 1 plus x. And we are supposed to get the area under the curve like this, but what we obtained from trapezoidal rule is the area under this straight line joining the point 0, 1 and 1, 1 by 2, right? And thereby we have committed some error. If you don't account for the arithmetic error in this, then the error was something like minus 0.569. Since we have obtained it on a computer, it will also surely include some arithmetic error, but we have not spoken about the arithmetic error at all. But deriving an expression for arithmetic error is not very difficult. I will introduce this idea of deriving arithmetic error for such formulas little later in this lecture. But here note that this error which comes out of our computer is actually the total error, not the mathematical error. Okay, so then let us pass on to the Simpson's rule and see what we got from the Simpson's rule. The value out of the Simpson's rule obtained as an approximation to the integral is 0.694444 in this example. And again, the red solid line is the graph of the function f of x equal to 1 by 1 plus x. And what Simpson's rule does, it just fits a quadratic polynomial, interpolating the point 0, 1, then this 0.5, 0.5, 1 by 1.5, right? And 1, 0.5. That is just indicated by this green boundary P2 of x. And Simpson's rule simply integrated this polynomial and gave us the value and said that you keep that as the approximate value to your integral. And thereby, you can see that in this particular example, your error is greatly improved when we went for the Simpson's rule. Finally, in the Gaussian rule, with n is equal to 1, what we obtained was 0.692308, and that is much better, in fact, than the Simpson's rule. And what Gaussian rule did was it fixed a point in the interval 0 to 1. Remember, it's more like the rectangle rule. It just took that point, smartly chosen in such a way that the area removed and the area included they are nicely balanced and minimized the error to a greater extent when compared to the Simpson's rule and the trapezoidal. That is what the Gaussian rule did here. Now the question is trapezoidal rule always less accurate than the other two? You can also pose this question by removing trapezoidal and putting Simpson's also. There's no particular reason for why I put only trapezoidal. That is because in this particular example, trapezoidal gave a bad accuracy when compared to the other two. That is why I put this particular question, keeping trapezoidal rule as a base. Let us try to answer this question. The answer is obviously not always true, because there are also cases where trapezoidal rule gives better result than Simpson and Gaussian rule. For instance, you take f of x equal to 10 by 9 x to the power of 4 minus x power 5. Okay. Before going into this example, I will also give one example which is very quick, which you would have also guessed by this time. Look, trapezoidal rule actually takes the straight line and integrates, right? If your function f itself is a straight line, then what happens? Your trapezoidal rule gives exact result, right? But of course, in that case, even Simpson's will give exact result. But let us take this function, which is not a straight line. Therefore, it looks like the trapezoidal rule may give some error, right? If you do the direct integration, you can see that the integral of this function over the interval 0 to 1 is 0.055556, and graphically the function f is shown in the red solid line, and the trapezoidal rule is getting us the area under this line, which is shown in blue color. You see, in this particular example, trapezoidal rule gave exact result. If you see, the exact result is 0.055556, and what trapezoidal rule gave, even that gave the exact value, right? Why it happened? Again, it inserted some area which was actually not in your integral and excluded some area which is there in your integral. Now, it so happened in this particular example that the area included is equal to the area removed. That is why your value finally got balanced and you got the error to be 0. Whereas Simpson's rule, of course, it is trying to put a quadratic polynomial. Therefore, if the area included and area excluded are balanced with a straight line, surely it will not balance with the corresponding quadratic polynomial, right? So that is what happened here, and thereby Simpson's rule actually included some error. And of course, Gaussian rule is slightly better than Simpson's rule, but however, it cannot compete with the trapezoidal rule in this particular example. Therefore, in general, we cannot say that one particular quadrature rule is better than the others in any example that we take. You cannot make such comments. They vary from function to function. However, by the way they are derived, Gaussian rule seems to be better than the other rules. That's all. It is only by the way they are derived and not by their performance. Let us now introduce an important notion called degree of precision for a quadrature formula. The degree of precision of a quadrature formula is the largest positive integer n such that the formula, that is the quadrature formula, is exact for all polynomials of degree less than or equal to n. As an example, let us take the Simpson's rule and try to see what is the degree of precision of this Simpson's rule. If you recall, we have obtained Simpson's rule by taking n is equal to 2 and some nodes, right? x0 is equal to a, x1 is equal to a plus b by 2, and x2 is equal to b. That's okay. But what is important is we have taken n equal to 2. And if you see the Simpson's method from the method of undetermined coefficients point of view, what we did is we obtained Simpson's rule by imposing that the rule is exact for polynomials of degree less than or equal to 2, right? So that is what is interesting here. From the way we constructed Simpson's rule, we may guess that the degree of precision of the Simpson's rule is 2, right? Keeping this in mind, let us go to compute the degree of precision of the Simpson's rule. By explaining this, let me explain the procedure of obtaining the degree of precision of Simpson's rule in this example. And this procedure is same for obtaining degree of precision for any quadrature rule that we do. Okay, so if I ask you to find degree of precision of some other rule, say trapezoidal rule or rectangle rule or any other rule that I give you, as far as finding degree of precision, the general idea is going to be the same as what I'm going to explain here. It is just the direct checking of the definition, but instead of taking polynomials in their general form, we will only work with the generating elements of the polynomials. Also note that it is enough to apply the rule over some interval, because the Simpson's rule is to approximate the integral a to b f of x dx. Now this a and b can be anything. In particular, if you choose this a and b to be some particular numbers, the degree of precision will not change. Therefore, you fix this interval a to b as something which is very convenient to you. Okay, if you recall, Simpson's method needs 3 points: a plus b by 2, and b, right? Therefore, it is convenient to keep these nodes as some integers. That is why I took 0 to 2. You may ask, why can't you take 0 to 1? That is also equally good or easy, but I may have to deal with 1 by 2 then, because the midpoint of this interval is 1 by 2. Just to have more easy calculation, I have taken it as 0 to 2, but in your calculation of degree of precision to any quadrature rule, it's up to you what interval you fix. It's better to take something which is very easy to compute. For instance, if you are trying to find the degree of precision for trapezoidal rule, it is smart to just choose 0 to 1 as the interval of integration. Okay, I'm choosing the interval as 0 to 2. And with that, first I have to take f of x is equal to 1, put it on one side, that is integral 0 to 2 f of x dx. Since I have taken f of x as 1, it is integral 0 to 2 dx, and that gives me the value 2. Just direct integration of this gives 2. Put the same function f in your Simpson's rule. If you recall, Simpson's rule with f of x equal to 1 in the interval 0 to 2 is precisely this. You just calculate this expression, you will see that that also leads to 2. Therefore, your integral value and the Simpson's value, they both are equal. Therefore, this is okay. Now you go to f of x equal to x. That gives you on one side the exact integral to be again 2. Note that I have put f of x equal to x here and did the exact integration that gave me the value 2. On the other hand, I have taken the Simpson's rule and put f of a is 0, that is 0, f of a plus b by 2, that is 1, that is 1. So it is 4 times f of a plus b by 2, and f of 2 is 2, that is the last term. And once you simplify this, you will see that that also gives you the same value as 2. Therefore, f of x equal to x is also okay. Like that, you keep on going. You put f of x is equal to x square, f of x equal to x cube, and so on, till you get a situation where your exact integral is not equal to the value given by the Simpson's rule. Okay, then you have to stop there, and the previous integer should be your degree of precision, because you can see that it is the largest positive integer, such that the quadrature formula gives the exact value of the integral when the function f happens to be the polynomial of degree less than or equal to that n, right? So therefore, we have checked that condition for n equal to 0, that was fine. We have checked the condition for n equal to 1, that was fine. Let us now go to check this condition for n equal to 2. That means you have to take f of x equal to x square. In that case, if you evaluate the integral, you will get 8 by 3. On the other hand, if you take f of x equal to x square, a equal to 0 and b equal to 2, your Simpson's method also gives you the same value. Therefore, n equal to 2 also okay. Up to here, it is natural to expect, because while deriving the Simpson's rule itself, we have imposed the condition that the rule is exact for polynomials of degree less than or equal to 2. That is how we derived Simpson's rule from method of undetermined coefficients. Also, when we derived Simpson's rule using direct method, we have used P2, that is quadratic polynomial interpolation, right? Therefore, the degree of precision being 2 is something which is very natural to expect. But don't stop here. You go to also check for n equal to 3, in which case you will take f of x equal to x cube. Surprisingly, you can see that the exact integral gives you value 4, and your Simpson's method also gives you the same value. Therefore, precision is even going up to 3. Not only it is stopping at 2, which we have primarily imposed to get the Simpson's method, it is giving one more precision. In fact, this happens for any quadrature rule that has nodes which are symmetrically placed around the midpoint of the interval. Here you can see that if you take the midpoint of the interval a plus b by 2, on the left side you have a, on the right side you have b. They both are of equal length, and that is why you are gaining one precision more. Now, let us go to check for n equal to 4. That is, take f of x equal to x power 4. You can see that the exact integral value is 32 by 5, whereas Simpson's rule gives 20 by 3. Therefore, this is the first level where we have unequal value on both sides, right? Therefore, you leave this and declare n equal to 3 as the precision of the Simpson's rule. It gained one precision more because of its symmetric nature of the nodes. Therefore, the degree of precision of the Simpson's method is 3. Now, if I give you any quadrature formula and ask you to find the degree of precision, first thing you have to do is you choose the interval on which you want to integrate as you like. Preferably, you fix this interval in such a way that the calculations become very easy. That's purely a smart work. Otherwise, it doesn't matter which interval you fix for this calculation. You can fix any interval that you want. Once you fix the interval, you keep on checking this f of x equal to 1. If that is okay, you go for f of x equal to x. If that is okay, you go for f of x equal to x square, like that. You keep on going. If you find at some n, x to the power of n, it's okay, but f of x equal to n plus 1, if you take, if that is not giving equal value for the exact integral and this rule that we have taken, then you stop your procedure, take this n and declare this as the degree of precision of that quadrature rule. So this is the procedure to find degree of precision. I hope you have understood this. Finally, let us try to derive the expression for the arithmetic error in approximating the value of an integral using a quadrature formula. In particular, we will illustrate this derivation in the case of Simpson's rule, and the idea is the same for deriving the arithmetic error for any quadrature rule. Recall that the Simpson's method is given by IS of f is equal to b minus a by 6 into f of a plus f of a plus b by 2 plus f of b, right? When this expression will involve an arithmetic error, well, if there is a rounding or any kind of floating point error in either the node points or the function values or both, then the computation will also involve arithmetic error, right? Let us assume that the function values are taken with some error involved in them. Say, for instance, it may be rounding error or something else, such that the exact value f of a is some approximate value which we will be using in our calculations, and the error involved in this is denoted by epsilon a. Similarly, f of a plus b by 2, which is the exact value supposed to be used in our quadrature formula, is unfortunately taken to be not the exact value but some approximate value denoted by f of a plus b by 2, and thereby we have committed an error which is denoted by epsilon suffix a plus b by 2. Similarly, for f of b also, where we will be using the value fb instead of f of b, and thereby the error committed is epsilon b. With these approximate values, we will be getting the value from the Simpson's rule denoted by is tilde of f is given by b minus a by 6 times fa plus 4 times, sorry, there is a 4 here, fa plus b by 2 plus fb, right? Again, I'll repeat, we are supposed to compute the value of the quadrature formula using this expression, but unfortunately we are provided with an approximate value to the function values, whereas b and a are assumed to be given exactly. This is just for the sake of simplicity. Ideally, we have to also assume that there are some errors in the values of a and b, but for the sake of simplicity, we will only assume that the function values involve error, whereas the nodes are given exactly. Then instead of computing this expression, we will be computing this expression. Note that the expression is same, but the values plugged into this expression are different, right? Therefore, the arithmetic error is given by AES of f is equal to, by definition, it is IS of f, which is the value of the quadrature rule with exact values substituted in it, minus IS tilde of s. This is what we finally obtain from our calculation, maybe on a computer. So if you substitute the corresponding expressions into this, we will see that it is given by b minus a by 6 into f of a minus fa, right, plus 4 times f of a plus b by 2 minus fa plus b by 2 plus f of b minus fb, right? And that is given by b minus a by 6 times epsilon a plus 4 times epsilon a plus b by 2 plus epsilon b. So that is the expression for the arithmetic error involved in the Simpson's rule. In a similar way, we can obtain the expression for the arithmetic error involved in any quadrature rule. In fact, this idea can be followed for any formula that we come across. If you know exact values of epsilon a plus b by 2 and epsilon b, then we can of course find the value of the arithmetic error exactly. But often we do not know what it is, but we know certain estimates for epsilon. Say, for instance, whatever may be the epsilon value, we know the maximum that they can have. Say, maximum of mod epsilon a plus b by 2 and mod epsilon b. Then you can see that mod arithmetic error involved in the Simpson's rule can be written as b minus a by 6 times mod epsilon a plus 4 times mod a plus b by 2 plus mod epsilon b, right? Now I will replace each of these epsilons by epsilon infinity. Remember, this is only a notation. Otherwise, there is no reason for why I should give infinity here. Okay, that will be further less than or equal to b minus a by 6 times epsilon infinity plus 4 times epsilon infinity plus epsilon infinity. That is nothing but 6, right? Therefore, it is actually b minus a into epsilon infinity. So that is the estimate for the arithmetic error. Sometimes we may not give exactly what is this epsilon infinity, but indirectly we will give an upper bound for epsilon infinity. How? Suppose if I give you, say, f of x is equal to e power minus x square, and say that the function values are taken with, say, 6 significant digits. What it means? It means mod f of a minus fa divided by mod f of a is less than or equal to, if you recall from our previous chapter on errors, it is 1 by 2 times 10 to the power of minus 5, right? Similarly, for the other two also, f of a plus b by 2 minus f of a plus b by 2 divided by f of a plus b by 2 is also less than or equal to 1 by 2 10 to the power of minus 5. And you have also f of b minus fb divided by f of b is less than or equal to 1 by 2 10 to the power of minus 5. Now from here you can get what is epsilon a. Recall, this is what we defined as epsilon a, and this is your epsilon a plus b by 2, and this is your epsilon b. So your epsilon will be less than or equal to half into 10 to the power of minus 5 into the function value, right? So this will go to the other side as mod f of a, and similarly in the other terms. And you know what is f of a because you know what is f. Suppose it is given to you and a and b are also given to you, then you can find explicitly the number which is the upper bound for your epsilon, and that 3 numbers you put into this expression and take the maximum among them. That will be a kind of bound for your epsilon infinity, and thereby you can get the upper bound for your arithmetic error also.